In the global chess game of power, some moves are bold, others subtle. The port of Berbera on Somaliland's coast is one of the latter, its significance growing quietly but steadily. Once a sleepy outpost, Berbera now stands at the heart of US-China competition, thanks to its location at the mouth of the Red Sea, near the vital Bab el-Mandeb Strait. For China, securing this trade route is crucial, but Berbera's development by UAE-based DP World and its courting by Western powers complicates Beijing's plans. Somaliland, unrecognized since 1991, has turned its isolation into leverage, offering Berbera as a stable, non-aligned alternative to Chinese-influenced Djibouti. The US sees Berbera as a potential hub for logistics and surveillance, a way to monitor China and regional threats without Beijing's oversight. This Berbera factor marks a shift in the Horn of Africa, showing how even unrecognized states can exploit global rivalries. The port's rise challenges China's regional dominance and forces Beijing to confront a new, unpredictable reality. As Washington explores this frontier, China is left constrained by its own policies, unable to respond directly. Berbera's quiet emergence is sparking a loud debate about the future of influence in this critical region. Berbera's importance is tied to the Red Sea, a vital artery connecting the Mediterranean to the Indian Ocean and carrying over 12% of global trade. Disruptions here, like the Suez Canal blockage or Houthi attacks, have shown how fragile and essential this route is. For China, whose economy depends on these waters, any threat to this corridor is a threat to national survival. That's why Beijing has invested heavily in regional security, including its first overseas military base. Control over Red Sea ports means economic security and military leverage for any global power. Djibouti and Berbera, therefore, have become some of the world's most valuable real estate. Whoever controls access to these choke points holds a powerful card in global politics. In 2017, China broke precedent by opening a massive naval base in Djibouti, officially for anti-piracy and humanitarian missions, but the base's scale, capable of hosting aircraft carriers and submarines, reveals a broader ambition, permanent power projection at a global choke point. From Djibouti, China can monitor US, French, and Japanese forces and secure its economic lifelines. This base transforms China's navy into a true blue water force, extending its reach across Africa and the Indian Ocean. Yet, Djibouti's crowded military landscape limits China's freedom and exposes it to constant surveillance. Relying on a single access point is a strategic risk. If Djibouti is compromised, China's regional interests are vulnerable. That's why the rise of Berbera just down the coast is so unsettling for Beijing. It threatens to break China's monopoly on regional influence. Just 150 kilometers from Djibouti, Berbera has been transformed by UAE investment into a modern deep-water port. Unlike Djibouti, which hosts multiple foreign bases, Berbera offers a clean slate, an exclusive opportunity for a new patron. Somaliland, eager for recognition, is willing to offer strategic partnerships in exchange for legitimacy. This dynamic gives potential partners, like the US, influence unattainable in Djibouti's crowded environment. For China, Berbera's rise undermines its strategy of consolidating power in Djibouti. If Ethiopia shifts trade to Berbera, Djibouti's and China's regional leverage will erode. Berbera is a geopolitical escape valve, offering access to the Red Sea without Chinese oversight. Its modern facilities and highway to Ethiopia make it a commercially and strategically sound alternative. For the West, Berbera is a ready-made counter to China's growing dominance. China's hands are tied in Berbera by its own foreign policy, specifically, its commitment to non-interference and the One China principle. Recognizing Somaliland would contradict Beijing's stance on Taiwan and set a dangerous precedent. Somaliland's ties with Taiwan only deepen the rift, making Chinese engagement impossible. Instead, China doubles down on support for Somalia and applies diplomatic pressure to isolate Somaliland. This leaves Beijing unable to compete for influence in Berbera, forced into a passive role as Western interest grows. The Berbera factor exposes a unique vulnerability in China's global strategy. It's a dilemma China can see, but cannot resolve without undermining its core principles. While China is constrained, the US and its allies see Berbera as a strategic opening. Washington, wary of China's Djibouti base, now views Somaliland as a potential partner, not a diplomatic problem. High-level U.S. military visits and policy documents highlight Berbera's growing importance. The U.S. is exploring leasing facilities for logistics, surveillance, and regional operations. The UAE, through DP World, has driven Berbera's development, seeking secure trade routes and influence. The UK maintains a diplomatic presence, supporting Somaliland's stability. This convergence of Western and regional interests forms a powerful bloc, further isolating China. Berbera offers secure, exclusive access for military and intelligence assets, away from Chinese and Russian eyes. By courting Somaliland, the West gains a stable, democratic partner in a volatile region. This is a calculated move to redraw the Horn of Africa's geopolitical map. For Somaliland, the great power rivalry is a chance for survival and legitimacy. Unrecognized for decades, it's leveraging Berbera to seek a seat at the UN. Every Western visit and investment is a step toward that goal. Somaliland presents itself as the West's ideal partner, stable, democratic, and willing to fight terrorism. Its pitch is simple: recognize us and gain a reliable ally at the Red Sea's gateway. But this strategy is risky. Close ties with the US and Taiwan make China a permanent adversary, likely blocking UN recognition. Tensions with Somalia and internal challenges add to the complexity. Still, Somaliland bets that a US security partnership is more valuable than formal recognition alone. It's a delicate game, but one Somaliland is determined to play. A 2024 deal between Somaliland and Ethiopia has supercharged Berbera's importance. Ethiopia, long dependent on Djibouti, now gains access to Berbera's port and coastline, potentially in exchange for recognizing Somaliland's independence. For Ethiopia, this means a second economic lifeline and a chance to rebuild its navy. For Somaliland, it's a diplomatic breakthrough and deeper regional integration. The deal has rattled Somalia and Djibouti, redrawing alliances and fault lines in the Horn. It also impacts the US-China rivalry. Ethiopia's shift to Berbera reduces China's leverage as its investments in Djibouti lose value. A new economic and security bloc is emerging, centered on Berbera and operating outside China's orbit. The port is now a catalyst for regional realignment. The rise of Berbera is quietly reshaping the Red Sea's balance of power. The real winner is strategic competition itself. China's dominance is no longer assured. Berbera gives the US and its allies a counterweight, ensuring the region remains contested. Somaliland, once obscure, is now strategically indispensable, gaining economic lifelines and a de facto security guarantee. China, constrained by its own policies, watches as its influence is challenged and its investments in Djibouti lose value. Berbera proves that even small, unrecognized states can shift global dynamics by exploiting great power rivalries. In 21st century geopolitics, agility and options matter as much as raw power. The quiet port of Berbera is making a loud statement on the world stage. As Berbera's ascent disrupts the established order, Beijing faces a new and unexpected challenge on the Red Sea. China's vast investments in Djibouti, once a symbol of uncontested influence, now seem increasingly vulnerable. With Berbera offering alternative access and partnerships, the exclusivity China enjoyed is slipping away. In response, Chinese policymakers are recalibrating. Will they double down on economic leverage in Djibouti or seek new footholds elsewhere in the Horn of Africa? The stakes are high. Shipping lanes, energy routes, and the prestige of global leadership all hang in the balance. Meanwhile, regional players watch closely. The shifting sands could spark new alliances, or rivalries, as countries weigh their own interests against the backdrop of great power competition. For China, the Red Sea is no longer a safe harbor, but a proving ground for its global ambitions. The future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear. The rise of Berbera has forced China and the world to rethink what power means along the world's most strategic waterways. As the dust settles on the Horn of Africa's shifting alliances, one truth emerges. The rise of Berbera is more than a local development. It's a signal of global transformation. What began as a quiet port expansion has rippled outward, realigning economic corridors, redrawing spheres of influence, and challenging the dominance of established players like Djibouti and China. Throughout this saga, Berbera has become a symbol of opportunity and uncertainty. For Ethiopia, it's a lifeline to the sea. For Somaliland, a bid for recognition on the world stage. For outside powers, it's both a challenge and an invitation, forcing a rethink of strategies across the Red Sea and beyond. But the story doesn't end here. The Berbera factor reveals a world where new gateways can disrupt old orders, and where small actors, armed with ambition and strategic vision, can shape the course of history. As investment pours in and new partnerships form, the stakes will only grow higher. Will Berbera fulfill its promise as a beacon of stability and prosperity, or will it become another flashpoint in the contest for control over the world's most vital waterways? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. In the age of globalization, the fate of a single port can echo across continents, changing the game forever.